42. That is the number that now defines Leigh Waters in 2026. 42 career Triple Crowns. And if you thought the rest of the PPA Tour was closing the gap this season, what just happened at the SXY Newport Beach Open should erase that thought completely. Because Leigh Waters did not just win another Triple Crown this weekend, she dominated in a way that made the entire professional field look like they were playing a different sport. Singles, doubles, mixed, she swept everything. And the scariest part? She made it look effortless. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why nobody on tour has an answer for Leigh Waters right now. What one shocking loss a few weeks ago actually revealed about her mentality, and why the next chapter of her career could be the most dangerous one yet. To understand why this weekend matters so much, you need to understand who Leigh Waters is and how she got here. She started playing competitive pickleball at 11 years old. By 13, she was winning professional titles on the PPA Tour. By 15, she was the undisputed #1 player in the world in all 3 disciplines: women's singles, women's doubles, mixed doubles, all of them simultaneously. And now, at 18 years old, she holds the record for the most gold medals in professional pickleball history, with 181. Her Triple Crown total, 42, is the most of any player, male or female, in the history of the sport. She is not just the best female player in pickleball. She is arguably the most dominant athlete the sport has ever produced. What sets her apart is not raw talent alone. It is the consistency. Week after week, tournament after tournament, she shows up and she wins. The Triple Crown, sweeping singles, doubles, and mixed doubles at a single event, is supposed to be one of the hardest achievements in professional pickleball. You are playing 3 different formats with different partners against different playing styles across a grueling multi-day weekend. Most players would celebrate a single gold medal at a PPA event. Leigh Waters wins all 3. And she does it so often that people have started to forget how extraordinary it actually is. But 2026 has not been a straight line of dominance, and that is what makes this story so compelling. Let us go back to January, when the season kicked off at the Carvana PPA Masters in Palm Springs. This was a slam-level event, double the ranking points of a regular tournament, a massive pro draw, and the tradition of wearing all white in a nod to Wimbledon. Waters came in with new equipment and new pressure. Just days before the tournament, she had signed a landmark paddle deal with Franklin Sports, co-designing a signature line of paddles, bags, and accessories. And even bigger, she signed an apparel deal with Nike. Leigh Waters became the first pickleball player in history to partner with Nike, the brand that represents Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, LeBron James, and Cristiano Ronaldo chose a pickleball player. And they chose her. That is not just a sponsorship deal. That is a signal about where the sport is headed and who is leading the way. With all that pressure, all those new expectations, Waters delivered. She beat Kate Fahey in the women's singles final to claim Triple Crown number 40. In the mixed doubles final with Ben Johns, they held off Anna Bright and Hayden Patriquin in a 5-game war that featured a 46-shot rally and a 7-0 closing run to seal the match. The stats from that final were absurd. 20 clean winners apiece from Johns and Patriquin. 0 errors on serves, returns, and thirds from Bright. It was elite-level pickleball, and Waters and Johns still came out on top. Then came Kate Coro in February. Waters and Anna Bright earned their 17th women's doubles title together. The Waters-Bright partnership has become one of the most dominant pairings in pickleball. Waters brings aggressive, fast-paced net play, and Bright provides powerful ground strokes and exceptional court coverage. Together, they are nearly unbeatable. At Cape Coral, they added another goal to a partnership that has been the gold standard in women's doubles for years. But then came the Carvana Mesa Cup, and this is where the story takes a turn that nobody expected. In the mixed doubles final, Waters and Johns, the #1 seeds, the most successful mixed doubles team in pickleball history, faced Bright and Patrican, the third seeds. And they did not just lose, they got swept. 3 games to 0, 11-8, 11-9, 11-3. That final game, 11-3, was a demolition against Leigh Waters and Ben Johns. It was one of the most decisive victories anyone has ever recorded against the Waters-Johns partnership. Bright and Patrican came out with a surgical game plan. They targeted specific positioning vulnerabilities. They drove heavy to Waters' backhand side. They moved Johns laterally through the transition zone, taking away his ability to set up at the kitchen line on his terms. And most importantly, they did not flinch. In previous matches against Waters and Johns, teams have had match points and blown them. They have had leads and crumbled. Bright and Patrican did not crumble. They closed with authority. Zero hesitation. It was a masterclass. The pickleball community erupted. Social media was flooded with hot takes. Is this the end of the dynasty? Have Bright and Patrican cracked the code? Did Waters and Johns choke? The questions were loud, and honestly, they were fair. A 3-0 sweep of the best team in the sport is not something you dismiss easily. For the first time in a long time, people genuinely wondered if the balance of power at the top of pickleball was shifting. But here is the thing about Leigh Waters that separates her from every other competitor on the PPA Tour. She does not just recover from losses, she weaponizes them. Every single time she has been beaten, and those times are rare, she comes back stronger, sharper, and more ruthless than before. It is a pattern that goes back years. Lose a final, win the next 3 tournaments. Drop a game in singles, sweep the next 5 opponents without giving up more than 4 points per game. The bounce back is not just part of her game, it is the defining feature of her competitive identity. And Newport Beach was the ultimate bounce back. The numbers are staggering. In women's singles, Waters won 5 matches without losing a single game. Her opponents averaged fewer than 4 points per game against her. These are the best female players in the world, competing at the highest level of professional pickleball, and they could not get to 4 points per game. That is not winning, that is erasure. In women's doubles with Bright, it was somehow even more dominant. 5 matches, 11 games played, 11 games won, 0 games dropped. Their opponents averaged fewer than 3 points per game. Fewer than 3 at the professional level. Let that number sit with you for a moment. It means that in a game played to 11, the opposing team was getting to roughly 2 or 3 points before the game was over. That is a level of dominance that has almost no parallel in professional pickleball doubles. And then came the mixed doubles final. After the Mesa Cup sweep, every eye in the building was on Waters and Johns. Could they bounce back?
Would the Mesa loss linger? The answer was emphatic. They drew 10th-seeded Tina Pisnik and Eric Onsens in the final. Game 1, 11-4. Game 2, 11-2. The first 2 games were total blowouts. Game 3 got tight. Pisnik and Onsens pushed it to 12-10, but Waters and Johns closed it out. Because that is what champions do. They might give you a moment, but they never give you the match. Triple Crown number 42, her 3rd of 2026, and the season is nowhere close to being over. So what changed between Mesa and Newport Beach? How did Waters go from being swept in a mixed doubles final to this kind of total across-the-board annihilation? There are 3 factors worth examining. The first is matchup and partnership dynamics. At Mesa, Bright and Patrican exposed specific tactical patterns in how Waters and Johns were positioning during rallies. They were aggressive on the drive, they took away counterattack lanes, and they forced transitions on their terms rather than allowing Waters and Johns to dictate. After that loss, you have to believe adjustments were made. At Newport Beach, Waters and Johns looked sharper on third shot decisions, more connected during transitions, and significantly more aggressive at the kitchen line.
The patterns that Bright and Patriquin exploited at Mesa were gone, erased, rebuilt. The second factor is mental and reputational pressure. Leigh Waters carries the weight of being the face of professional pickleball. The Franklin deal, the Nike deal, the constant media attention, the expectation that she wins every single event, it adds up. But she has spoken openly about how she channels that pressure into motivation. After the Mesa loss, there were questions, doubts. And for a competitor wired the way Waters is wired, questions and doubts are not obstacles. They are rocket fuel. The intensity she brought to Newport Beach was visibly different. You could see it in her body language, in her shot selection, in the way she attacked every single point like it was a personal mission. The third factor is schedule, health, and the physical grind. The 2026 PPA Tour calendar is relentless. Back-to-back weekends, coast-to-coast travel, competing in all 3 draws at every event. The fatigue factor is real, especially for a player like Waters who never takes a draw off. By the time Mesa came around, she had already been through the Masters and Cape Coral in consecutive weekends. The body can only sustain peak performance for so long. Newport Beach may have represented a reset, a chance to recover, recalibrate, and come into the tournament with fresh legs and a clear head. The results suggest that is exactly what happened. But beyond the tactical and physical explanations, there is one moment from this stretch that stands out above everything else: the Mesa loss. Not because of what it revealed about Waters' weaknesses, but because of what it revealed about how the rest of the tour relates to her dominance. When Bright and Patriquin swept Waters and Johns, the reaction was not casual acknowledgement. It was eruption. It was front-page news across every pickleball outlet. It trended on social media. Commentators dedicated entire segments to analyzing every point. That is the reality of Leigh Waters in 2026. Her losses are so rare that each one becomes a seismic event. Each one generates more attention than most players' biggest wins. And that asymmetry tells you everything you need to know about where she stands in this sport. So, what is next? There are 2 paths forward for the rest of the 2026 season, and they depend entirely on one question. Can anyone sustain success against her? Or was Mesa a one-off? Scenario 1. The bounce back continues.
Waters rides the momentum from Newport Beach through the spring PPA events, stacking triple crowns, building an insurmountable lead in the rankings, and arriving at the MLP season in May as the most feared player on any roster. The conditions for this are simple: continued health, sustained motivation from the Nike and Franklin partnerships, and no major disruptions to her doubles or mixed doubles pairings. If those hold, there is no reason to believe anyone can beat her consistently. Scenario 2. The Mesa blueprint spreads. Other teams study what Bright and Patriquin did and try to replicate it. Heavy drives to the backhand, lateral movement to disrupt Johns' positioning, relentless pressure on transitions. If multiple teams can execute that game plan at a high level, and that is a big if, then we could see more competitive finals and possibly more losses for the Waters-Johns pairing. But here is the catch. Even if the mixed doubles gets more competitive, Waters' singles and doubles dominance appears untouchable. She won her last 5 singles matches without dropping a game. She and Bright have not lost a doubles game in weeks. The ceiling for the rest of the tour right now is competing in mixed doubles. That is it. The most exciting test on the horizon is not even on American soil. In April, Leigh Waters will make her international debut at the PPA Tour Asia event in Hanoi, Vietnam. She will compete in women's doubles with Anna Bright and in mixed doubles with Ben Johns at the Mai Ding Indoor Athletics Arena from April 1st through 5th. Champions will earn 1,000 ranking points, making this one of the most significant events on the 2026 calendar. After the tournament, Waters will travel to Ho Chi Minh City for clinics and a showcase event in partnership with Franklin Sports. This is a landmark moment,
the biggest star in pickleball, taking the sport global for the first time. So here is the prediction, and you can hold me to it. Leigh Waters will finish the 2026 PPA Tour season with more triple crowns than any single season in her career. The new paddle is dialed in. The Nike partnership has elevated her brand and her motivation to a new level. The Mesa loss reminded her and everyone else that she is human. But Newport Beach reminded everyone that human Leigh Waters is still better than the best version of everyone else on tour. 42 triple crowns and counting, 181 gold medals, #1 in singles, doubles, and mixed. The throne belongs to ALW, and she is not giving it up. So here is my question for the comments. Do you think anyone on the PPA Tour can beat Leigh Waters more than twice in 2026? Or is she going to run the table for the rest of the season? If you have a name, drop it below. Because right now, from where I am sitting, nobody is close.